Start transmission. 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting to you live from the Static Clan compound. You are now listening to the Jaysin Static Experience, a podcast from an award-winning nobody, noted raconteur, Renaissance man, a man with a sailor's mouth, but he has never sailed, and who likes to talk about a cornucopia of topics. This podcast is brought to you by www.jaysinstatic.com, a place filled with all your pop culture, antiques, and collectible needs. And now your host, the one and only Jaysin Static. But on that note, let's get ready to go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Fan fucking tastic. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Jaysin Static for another motherfucking episode. And today, you guys, I have somebody totally fucking radical for you guys. I've talked about this person kind of vaguely over the years since I've been doing the podcast. But
OG.
She is definitely an OG fan and friend, and yeah. We'll get into other stuff. But my ex-fiance, Destiny, she's got an art. She got into art, and she's really kicking ass with it. So I was just like, fuck, I like art. Why not? Let's bring her on and talk about fucking art and shit like that. So, without further ado, everybody, give a round of applause to my ex, Destiny. What the fuck's up, man?
What's up?
Same old shit, just different day.
Such an introduction. I'm humbled.
Well, I mean, it's kind of my thing, you know, introductions and whatnot.
I remember.
So, I kind of gave you that introduction. You know, you're into art. Since people don't really know you on my side of the world,
yeah,
except for the vague stories that I've told over the years about us, without actually name dropping. Tell me a little bit about yourself to get yourself introduced to the people who's going to be listening to this thing that's not your little fan base that you have.
Okay, so my art page and the brand that I'm going under is Dead Seas Deviations, and yeah, it's deviated from the norm, you know, of like what you would expect in just traditionally styled art in general. Mm-hmm. And it's just like weird and colorful and dark and weird and awesome. Yeah,
weird and colorful and dark.
It ranges between morbid and like hippie and
yeah. If I had to, it's kind of like a combination of like
I do
like almost like new school style, which is like, you know, almost like borderline graffiti-ish style, but without it being actual graffiti style.
Yeah, it's more like urban art, but it has like tattoo influence. So yeah, new school.
Yeah. So that's what I mean, hell, I have some of the stuff popped up around my studio. So I mean, you can't see it because it's you might be able to see something right back there. The little lady face that you made.
Oh yeah.
And then Spawn sitting up there on the shelf up there. But yeah, what essentially got you into art? We'll lead off that. We'll do like a backstory.
Yeah, let's embarrass
because our backstory ties into that story. So
yeah.
So let's tell the audience a little bit of our backstory and what led us into Dead Sea Deviation, the master artist.
Okay, well, I used to give Mr. Static here a hell of a hard time, and I was an alcoholic and a bit of a heroin addict, and after I got out of rehab, we had a very competitive, fun relationship. Like, I know how to do photography because of this man, and he would always kind of like egg me on and be like, you can't do shit like that, whatever. And Yeah, it made it really fun, but that was the first day that I sat down actually with like a sketchbook and just tried to like look off something and sketch something, and
Right.
it kind of just came naturally. And you know, you were all proud of me and I was all proud of me, and I
Yeah.
just kind of like became obsessed, and it like helped me believe in myself, and that's what's honestly that's what's kept me off like drugs. I've been clean of alcohol now for like 6 months or so.
Yeah.
I don't drink at all. And I don't
That's
even
good.
eat that much anymore. But yeah.
So essentially we met, when was it, back in 2008?
I think it was 2008. I really do.
Maybe 2000.
It's either,
It was right around the time that I started wrestling is when we met.
when you started wrestling, I thought you had been wrestling for a while.
Well, because I started wrestling in 2008. So we either had to meet before that, which would have been 2007, but I wasn't wrestling long before I met you.
I didn't.
So like I met you first and then ended up starting wrestling. I believe that's how it worked out.
Yeah. Do you remember met?
Yeah, we met on
next to each other on that one Juggalo site on fucking MySpace.
yeah, we met. We have funny story, you guys. We met. Okay, we met back in MySpace, and back in MySpace they had like room type stuff, like on websites, like, you know, you were able, essentially it's like Facebook, where Facebook has like fan pages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But on MySpace, this one, what was it? It was called like Juggalos or Us or some crap like that. Yeah. And for those who don't know, Juggalos, you know, ICP fans and stuff like that, I was a really big ICP fan back in the day. And funny thing is, I actually worked for ICP a couple of times too, back when I was wrestling. So we met on that fan page, and how we met is, you know, you send in pictures, and essentially you get to, they post your picture for you in on their webpage, so you can meet other people and become friends and everything like that, potentially go to shows and whatnot. And her picture happened to be right next to mine, and me trying to be all sly and smooth and everything, and I was like, hey, what's up type, you know, I don't even remember exactly what I said, but like it was something along the lines of, you know, hey, what's up, you know, you're fucking cute or some shit like that. Something dumb and corny, like I always fucking say. But and then that's how our friendship became a thing. And
have like dinners and stuff over fucking, what was it, Yahoo? Like,
yeah.
But would have dinner together over the fucking the video thing.
Yeah.
Video calls or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it was a long process of just, you know, being friends over text and stuff like that. And then I would say, was it maybe 2011, I believe it was.
For like a year, and then we ended up meeting.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, we talked for a long time online and just bullshitted back and forth. And then I think we have like a long distance type of like kind of relationship too.
Yeah.
For like a year.
Yeah.
And then we finally met each other.
Yeah, because you were where you are and I was in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I was in St. Louis, but you know, so, but you know, anyways, we ended up meeting and everything like that. And I was in most of you guys know my story. I was in a really bad place at that time mentally, you know, quitting wrestling and being hurt and injured, and, you know, just all kinds of other, you know, issues that I had going on with family and myself and everything like that. So me and her, we got into this relationship of like, I'm not saying it wasn't a bad thing. We had a lot of dumb stuff. We did a lot of dumb stuff, but overall it was a really good relationship, I feel.
I agree.
Even though we were both literally assholes to each other half the time, but it was still good overall.
Fun, yeah.
And so everybody knows I'm pretty competitive about stuff.
Oh yeah.
especially if I'm in a relationship with somebody, like, because
It gives you an opportunity to learn. It did for me anyway. That's
yeah. And one thing that I always try to, even in friendships, you know, like I'm always trying to push people to do better. Like, because, you know, like she said a while ago, she was on drugs and stuff like that. And it is what it is now. But when you can see better in a person.
Yeah. I had that lesson.
Yeah. When you can see better in a person and you want that person to be better, but knowing that you can't physically force that person to be better, you've got to let that person become better on their own. You know, that's kind of just my thing. Like,
yeah, you have a niche for that shit.
So, I realized that because it's something that I had to do on myself. Like, I realized that nobody can make me better unless I make myself better. Like, people can give me advice and, you know, be like, hey, Jaysin, you got to do it this way. You got to do this, this, and this. But if I don't listen and I don't do it, and I don't put forth that effort, like, you essentially got to, you got to find it out on your own. You got to work. Yeah. You got to work life in your own direction.
Yeah. And that can be hard.
But like what she said, she said, you know, the whole art thing, like I don't remember even what it was. I think I was sitting down scribbling, doodling or something. Huh?
No, that was when we lived in the D house.
Yeah.
And I still have the sketchbook around here somewhere and it still has your sketch because it was in like an oil pastel and you drew yourself as a little character with his tongue hanging out. And I was like, man, I wish I could like sit down and draw like that. And then that's when you started like egging me on and talking all your shit.
No, is that what it was? Like, I don't even remember. Like,
yeah, remember? Because
I remember the D house, but I don't remember that instance. I don't remember what the picture was, but I remember doodling something. I don't remember.
Yeah, and then I still have a skull that you doodled too, like a Jaysin static skull.
Yeah,
there too. And then the other people in the D house that drew in it and everything, like those are all still in there. I just kept it, you know, because that shit meant a lot to me.
That D house was fucking. I still tell people stories about the D house.
I do too.
Like I tell people that I work with, and I'm like, man, because when I started telling my boss here over the course of the last, like, you know, couple of months about, you know, doing the whole van life type stuff, and she's like, well, you know, you can do what the hell you want to. I couldn't do it. And I was just like, well, you know, I'm kind of used to living in small places and stuff like that. And I was like, she's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, when I lived up in Pennsylvania, like when I first moved up there, I lived in a room that was no bigger than a jail cell.
Essentially, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Like it was literally like a 9x6 fucking room.
Hey man, we got by though.
Yeah, man. We did.
Had like that mini fridge. You could cook fucking anything in a microwave. I think you made like pizza or something out of ramen. The one time.
Yeah, jailhouse ramen.
Yeah, and then we got the griddle thing and we put that up on the counter and
yeah,
I don't like the top of a dresser. Like,
jailhouse pizza out of ramen.
Hey man, our belly's full. That's all.
You remember the fucking the taco nights that we had? And I had that long flat plate that, you know, and I just dump a bunch of fucking meat on there and make fucking tacos for everybody on the floor.
That shit was chill though. That was fun.
Yeah.
It was gangster as fuck, but it was fun.
Yeah, like, and funny thing is, another funny thing about our little backstory is, most of you guys know, if you've been following me over the past couple of weeks, I started doing hiking videos. You want to tell? So I didn't have a car back then. Well, I had a car, but the car broke down. So I scrapped it for money. And then I just walked everywhere.
I hate walking everywhere.
Yeah. So I just started walking everywhere, and I would walk 5 miles to work every day just to go to work. And then I would walk 5 miles home after like 10-hour days. Yeah. And my ass was always dead fucking tired.
Yeah. But you bitched about it.
Huh?
Like, you never bitched about it though.
Yeah. But somebody else bitched about it.
No,
Cause my ass would get home and I'd be fucking dead tired and fall asleep, and she'd be like, motherfucker, wake up, I want to go do something. I'm like, oh, I'm too fucking tired.
Yep, that was me.
Yeah.
No, but like if we had to go somewhere or whatever, this motherfucker, he would be like, because I went to St. Louis then, and yeah, fucking, he'd be like, oh, we're gonna go here, and I'll be like, okay, and I wasn't familiar with the area, so like to keep me from bitching,
Yeah.
like what he would do is he'd be like, oh, it's just up here, it's just up here, and it'd be like 10 minutes that goes by, and I'm like, are we fucking there yet? You know, like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And yeah, and he'd be like, yeah, it's just right up here. And would end up walking like 15, 20 fucking miles. Like, couldn't preempt it with that because I'd bitch.
Yeah. So we had an instance where we were in Pennsylvania.
Oh my God.
And then we moved back to St. Louis, and then we ended up moving back up to Pennsylvania. Didn't we? Yeah, what?
No, my mom got crazy and she kicked me out when you came down to meet me, and you weren't gonna leave me behind. You said you weren't raised like that, and you didn't have enough money for a bus ticket for the both of us.
Oh yeah.
So you kept the money, and we like got what we could, like water and food and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
and that's where the whole that's how we got back to St. Louis. Okay, yeah. Now I remember. Fucking old age. Fucking spotty ass memory. But that's we went up there. That happened, and I was like, fuck it, let's go to Florida.
Oh yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it, let's just go to Florida because I got family down in Florida. Because at that time,
weren't we walking like the totally wrong direction?
No, we were going in the right direction, but like it was just like Pennsylvania to Florida, like me and my wild harebrained ideas. I'm like, hey, fuck it, let's just walk. I don't have enough money. I didn't have enough. I was like, I don't have enough money for 2 fucking bus tickets, so let's just fucking hitchhike and walk it. Yeah, you know, it'd be a fucking experience.
That shit it's still enough walking for the rest of my life.
And here I am fucking walking and hiking again.
Nah, I actually enjoy hiking now, just being in the desert. I don't, because I'm heat sensitive and I'll pass out. Because I have a fun condition called vasovagal syncope, which means like lights, or like if I get hot or whatever, it causes my vision to go black from the outer corners of my eyes.
Right.
Like my shoulders, my eardrums get hot, and then it's like I'm in my body, but I'm not in my body, and then I'm passed the fuck out. So.
I don't have that, but when I get hot, I get cranky because I'm fat and already hot. So like, you know, I stay pretty hot normally because I'm hot blooded.
Yeah, you were always a fucking.
So me being fat and then being able to keep all that extra heat when I get even more hot. I'm just like, fuck that shit. God damn it.
What's it like to be hot?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's not fun. That's why I keep my apartment at like 60 degrees.
I'm down to like 114 pounds now, so I'm like always cold.
Well, you need to get some meat on your bones. You need some of my fat? I can give you some of it.
Yeah, hand some over.
Oh, fucking right. I'll pull out this knife over here and cut some off and ship it to you.
Finally have an ass.
that would be fucking weird. Like, here, I'm gonna cut some fat off and mail it in a box for you, and you can put it in your butt. That way, you can finally have a butt.
Yep.
But, what area of kind of art? We talked about kind of the style of what you do, but like, what? Okay. How did you develop like your kind of niche and style, and what other kind of stuff do you do besides just painting and shit like that?
So honestly, my love for tattoos, even though I only have 6,
right.
My love for tattoos, and plus, you know, I pierced before and everything. So,
right.
My love for tattoos and just that industry and everything had a lot of influence on it. And then when we would go down to the graffiti wall and St. Louis and stuff, like really pushed me in that area and everything from seeing all the art down there. So I kind of like, I do paintings and stuff. I don't really have any visible. I mean, there's some over here.
Right.
But most of my stuff is put away right now. But no, I just do kind of like, it's like dark shit, but it's bright colored, you know, just kind of different, you know. But through the years and just like different people I've been with, or, you know, that I've been around, I've learned how to macrame or like hemp.
Right.
that, and then making resin stuff, which I make jewelry, charms, I have like bowls, coasters, like home decor style stuff, and I'm still growing and like
Right.
techniques and things.
So what got you to branch out from just the painting thing?
I got bored with it, honestly. Like, it's like I'll go through these phases where I get tired of painting, and then I'll be like, all right, I gotta find something else to do, because it has to be creating something. And so that's when I kind of out into like doing hemp work, because I've gone hippie in my deluxe age.
Right.
Whereas I was very like goth before and everything. So I take a little bit from each side, and just different people I've been around and stuff. I'll get tired of painting, and they'll be up to something. I'll be like, what's that? Or something will catch my eye on the internet or whatever, and I'll be like, I kind of want to do that or try that. And then I just kind of put my own twist on it, like add my own imagination to it, because I don't copy people,
Right.
But I don't know, I just got to keep it weird.
Keep it weird. Weird is good, man. Weird is good. I was born weird, and I'm still weird today, so and most people can verify that if you don't believe me. but like what was it that you started doing resin and everything? And that's kind of like what I see you pushing a lot nowadays is the resin stuff. What got you into the resin stuff?
Well, I saw a lot of UV resin artists on Instagram, and it looked cool, and the fact that you could like hold your art, not like just slap it on the wall, but like you could do stuff, it was like, I don't know, it could take on a different life.
Right.
I started off with UV resin, and I hated it because it didn't cure right. Like it was always and stuff. So I branched out to like actual tabletop epoxy, which is what I use now. And it cures better. It lasts longer. It doesn't yellow or anything. And I don't know. I just kind of was naturally good at it. And people buy that shit up. Like, it sells so good. Like, I have such a hard time selling my paintings because of like the content, and like I paint a lot of boobs and stuff. Like, I don't know what to do, but
hey, boobs are nice. I mean, you could paint butts, but I mean,
I actually do.
I mean, I'd buy. I got a naked lady painting in my hallway over there. So
I remember that one. No. Yeah. But I don't know. I just find weird, attractive, or, whatever. Or like, I don't have big lips. So like all of the girl characters that I draw, they have like, juicy big lips, or like they'll have even bigger ears than my ears that you can't see right now.
Yeah, your massive ears.
But no, I just take little pieces of myself, and like exaggerate them, or blow it out of proportion, and just add a little bit of myself to everything that I do, really.
What is what's that big motivator that keeps you grinding on stuff like this? Because we talked a little bit the other day, and like about motivation and stuff like that. Like, what is it that keeps you motivated to do that now?
A lot of it is anxiety. And with like the different lockdowns and shit, like I have to have something to do, or I'm gonna go stir crazy. And like I get anxious sitting in the house all the damn time, but I get more anxious when I go out. So it's kind of a catch-22. But no, and stress, honestly, I mean, stress will push me, to like I gotta get out of my headspace, and the house is like perfectly clean and everything, and I can't clean anything else, then it's like it's like my hands start to like get an itch, and it's like, all right, create something. Like I have to do something, whether it's with strings, whether it's with paint, whatever.
It's almost like a new addiction.
Yeah, it is, definitely. And I've had days where like I said, I've wanted to drink, I've had days where I've wanted to get high, if I'm honest. I'm like plagued with night terrors and stuff from like my past, and I have PTSD from trauma that I've gone through. And so like when those things start to kind of bubble up to, get them out and like work them physically out, then throw it all into art. And I think my best shit whenever I'm sad.
it's all, well, I mean, hell, some of the some of the greatest artists and musicians and stuff like that is able to create stuff out of their trauma. I was actually researching this guy the other night because I was at work, and I just happened to sit down for a second. We had a little bit of a break, and I was watching Mysteries at the Museum because I fucking love museums and stuff like that. And it's one of my favorite shows, and it's the only time that I do get to see TV because I don't have a TV at my house. I got rid of my TV, so the only time I do get to watch TV is when I'm at work, if I get a second. And usually if I'm there by myself, which that day I was running the restaurant that day. So I always turn it on that show because it's always on Wednesdays. Right. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to watch this shit if I get a chance to. And the episode, it was about an artist in the late 1500s to 1600s. His name was Caravaggio. And some of his work that he did is so, oh man, I don't know. I'll have to people listening to the thing. I don't know if I'm going to do audio or video on this. So I haven't decided on if I'm going to do audio or video or not, but you know how it goes. But this guy, his art is, I'm going to show you, Des, because this dude's fucking art, something about it. Like I seen the, let me see if I can. Give me 1 second, everybody. Saint James writing, Saint Jerome writing, painting. Where's it? Okay, here's that painting right there. Click up here. Screen share. And this guy's art. This is the video. This is the art. The painting that that they were talking about, this piece right here.
Wow.
And I don't know what it was about it, but I was just like, man, that is so dope looking. You know, the darks, the lights, the skull, the religious aspects of it. And something about it, I was like, man, I got to know who this guy is. Because that's all I seen in the whole episode, like the whole little, 5-minute episode that they talked about it. Apparently this painting here was stolen from a place in Italy at a place. I don't remember, in the 60s or some crap like that. And it's never been, like, they never found it again or some crap like that. I don't remember, but it was that one painting. So I was like, man, I got to find out about this guy.
I love shit like that.
Essentially I ended up doing a little bit of research on the guy, and apparently the guy was like super crazy, like wild. He was an alcoholic, all kinds of like anger problems. He used to get in fights and bar brawls, and he apparently murdered somebody, and he had to flee Rome so he wouldn't get captured. Like he was a known a known advocate of the local prostitutes in town at that time too. So like he was a straight like wild man, like straight wild man, and he ended up getting murdered or some crap like that. But
comes full circle.
Yeah, his life came full circle. But that leads back to the that artist, that tormented artist thing is a legit thing.
Oh yeah, I absolutely believe that. Like I don't remember what the documentary is called, but it was all about like schizophrenia and like schizophrenic artists and stuff. But it was this one guy who, whenever he like initially got diagnosed, and through his life, like as his body of work progressed, everything, like you could see this dude like through his art, like going into fucking real madness, and like psychosis and all kinds of crazy shit. And it was probably one of the most fascinating art documentaries I've ever seen. I love the story of Salvador Dali, like probably my favorite like male artist. And then I love Frida. Like that's a bad bitch right there.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm telling, like you'll have to, when we get off of this little call here, like you're gonna have to go research Caravaggio.
Oh, I definitely will.
Because it's so dark with the overtone of it, because a lot of his stuff is like religious in nature, but it was always the bad side of the religious nature, like them beheading people and stuff like that. And like he did just like he did this one scene where like Jesus was getting like carried away or some crap like that. Like it's pretty dope art. Like it was like the darker aspect of something that essentially was good, I guess, religion and everything like that. But it showed the darker side of, and he was always doing that stuff at a time where that stuff was like, people were like, hey bro, just knock that shit off. Like, don't talk about the church like that type stuff. So like for this guy to be as big and as popular as he was back in that day doing that type of art where it was showing the darker side of the religions and stuff like that.
Different, especially
pretty crazy.
Back in the 1500s. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And I think dude ended up dying in like 1610 or some crap like that.
Damn.
But I was just like, man, I got to find some of the, granted, I don't think I'll ever be able to afford any of this guy's art, like legit art. But I could buy some fucking reprints and put them up in my fucking house. I'll buy some fucking reprints. I don't care.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as long as you have the art, like
people come into my house and they're like, "Oh man, that's a cool painting." Don't worry, it's just a reprint. I don't care. No shame in that game. But
no, I haven't got around to that aspect of art yet, like making prints and stuff. Like when I sell my art, it's all original. Like that's the only one that exists.
Yeah.
So.
I know we've talked about branching out and doing other types of stuff, like taking some of your paintings and stuff that might be a little bit harder to sell and actually get them like transferred into prints or t-shirts or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Have you thought any of that stuff out on how you're going to be able to do any of that?
Yeah. And like, I'm getting ready to move here soon. So I'm just kind of like waiting, but no, that's something I do plan to do. And it's not something that's like as expensive as I thought, actually. People ask me all the time why I don't make my own molds. And it's honestly because silicone is fucking expensive. Like it's more expensive than it is to like make resin art. So, once I become like more balanced and I have more of an outreach and stuff, then that's definitely something that's going to be happening. And I want to print my own stickers and like make my own, like it'd be cool to make like badass bumper stickers. Just be like, have people bring you ideas, just like with, hey, can you do this? And make customizable or customized.
Yeah, there's a bunch of artists out in the game right now. I know there's this guy that I follow on YouTube a lot named 1000, and he's a pretty dope artist. Like he's a graffiti artist, and he does prints, but he also does like big graffiti murals and stuff like that. But a lot of the characters and stuff that he does, he just makes prints. He makes prints of the thing, but he also makes like digital prints of it so he can transfer that stuff on a t-shirt. So like dude's running a pretty damn good ship over there. Plus he's, it helps that he's got, like a couple 100,000 on YouTube and shit like that. But
yeah, people keep asking me why I don't do YouTube too. And I'm just like, I attract some fucking weirdos. Like I really do. Or like people that'll follow my ass around the country. So
yeah. Well, I mean, hell, I mean, I know it's a little bit different, for a woman, but I mean, hell, even guys get some fucking weirdos.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I got this one guy that follows me around everywhere. His name's Tyler Adams.
I've seen him.
Comments on everything. Go to fucking sleep, Tyler, if you're listening to this. But
I loved the one that he posted of the dude's ass, like when it was, what was it, a COVID one or whatever, like when vaccine or whatever, and he's like, "Is this you?"
Yeah, dude fucking harasses me all the time. I love the dude, but he's funny as shit. But motherfucker harasses me all the time. So I call him. He's my weird stalker guy because he's not really a stalker. He's a nice guy, but he's on my shit all the time. Like if I post something, I could post something to anything. And guy's right there, literally within the minute that I post it. I'm like, bro, give me a break, man.
Yeah. We'll just call him my ex-husband. He does that also.
Yeah. What up, Shane? Because I know your motherfucking ass could be listening to this too.
Yeah, he totally is.
But yeah. What other type have you ever thought about doing like sculpting or ceramics or
I do
anything like that?
I haven't really had any out lately, but I actually do sculpt clay, and I'm decent at it. I mean, I'm not amazing or anything, but I could get there for sure. And I would love to have a pottery wheel at some point. Like, I haven't done pottery since I was fucking. I want to do everything. I'm gonna be the greatest grandma ever, like doing all the arts and crafts. But no.
Hello there, kids. Come over here and sit by Grandma's pottery wheel. Let me show you how I made pots back in 2020 at the height of the pandemic.
The pandemic? No. No, and I want to like fuck with furniture and stuff like that. Like, honestly, I'm the type of person that, like, if I watch like a YouTube video on like a technique or whatever, like I make lights and stuff too, or like Shane's mom actually, she got a light off me that I used like an old tall ass candle holder, and I like drained it out and everything. I have like a bit that I use on my drill for glass specifically, and so like I can run the lights out through that and then pour resin inside and stuff.
You know, I got all kinds of beer bottles.
Those are fun to work with, and
empty old beer bottles. Do you want me to ship that shit to you?
Dude, fuck yeah, I'll totally.
Because I'm not. I was selling them for a little bit, and they kind of just stopped selling, and I'm like, I got all these bottles, and they haven't really been selling lately. So now they're just sitting up on my shelf, and they're big ones, small ones, and I'm keeping a couple of them that look really super cool that I think look cool just because.
It to it too, like just,
yeah. But hell, like,
I would love to do like one of my ceilings in fucking old records that like I painted over and then like glossed over to kind of seal the image in resin.
Yeah.
And I think that would be really cool. Or like,
I think we talked about that whole record thing, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
I want to hippie it out, man.
I think it would be cool to do some like take some of the people, like some of your favorite artists and stuff like that, and buy records from them, and then do some crazy ass art on them.
That would be really cool. Do some like 3D style shit.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
I really enjoy mixing mediums like together and stuff. Like I recently learned how to seal paper and like thing, you know, photos, whatever. And I was thinking of doing like a collage piece or something like that, you know, or maybe incorporate my original art with like something that's sealed on top of it and then coat all of it in resin, because it kind of works as like a preservator or preservative, one of those words.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know, watching you grind it out on this whole art thing over the last couple of years, I'm just like,
couple years, motherfucker. It's been 12 years.
Well, no, like, I mean, you know, you like at first, you know, you were just doing it, you know, here and there, but like,
but I'm trying to get my foot in the door now.
Over the last couple of years, like you've been taking it super, super serious, and I can tell that because the amount of shit that you post all over your social media things, and it's like, I'm like, another fucking resin. Oh, there's painting resin.
So a heads up, like I'm about to flood your fucking feed. Like,
yeah, so like I see the grind in it, and I'm just like, over the past couple of years of watching you do that, and it's also gotten me into the whole, like, man, I want to get back into some of the old shit that, you know, and I'm saying this because watching you grind on that, and then watching a handful of other people grind at some stuff that they're doing, it got me into that mindset of like, man, I gotta fucking get out and do shit.
Good.
You know, so like, y'all, the way you're grinding, the way a handful of other people are grinding, has really got me like, man, I got to start going to do some shit that I wanted to do, you know, which got me back into the hiking thing. And you know, I'm like, man, maybe one day, once I get into a new place and I have a little bit more space and room to, you know, set up shop and stages and, you know, workstations and everything like that. Cause right now I'm in an apartment. I can't buy a fucking kiln. I can't get into ceramics because I don't have a place to put my kiln if I buy one, you know, so like I can't put it in my kitchen.
I looked into that also.
You know, so like, you know, making my own t-shirts and stuff like that, doing the screen printing and stuff like that. You know, so doing all this stuff. I've always wanted to get into like leather working and blacksmithing and shit like that. So like, I'm like, man, if I have the fucking space to do this shit in, like, these motherfuckers are going to get tired of seeing me post shit. Like, I'm going to be like social media fucking like nut crazy. Like, I'm going to be posting.
It's a lot to keep up with, like, between art, like, and different things that you work on, and then being like, because for me, like, I make so much, and like generally I'm working on like 6 to 10 pieces at one time. And so it's almost like a fucking production line or some shit. And but like to keep up with, because like I've lost art before. Please don't hold that against me. But I have. It's like there's so much of it, and there's like I have a whole room and like a workstation and everything, you know, like dedicated to it. But it's like there's just so much of everything, like it's a lot to keep up with. It's a lot to remember to take photos of everything, because especially with resin, because it can take anywhere between 24 and 72 hours, you know, and you know, to turn out the way that I want it to and whatnot, until I take a photo of it. So, you know, you figure if I essentially have this like line, you know, going, like, it's a lot to keep up with. And then add the social media side, you know, posting to your personal page, posting and repping your art page or whatever it is. Like, it's, and then that's just Facebook, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I do it over Snapchat, and I sell a hell of a lot over Snapchat, actually. And Instagram, you know, like, it's a lot to keep up with. It really is, but it's super, super worth it.
Yes. Social media, I've always, like, I kind of have I kind of have trouble with social media. It's because I have so many different platforms.
Yeah.
Like, I can't keep, granted, I don't get a lot of that, and a lot of the stuff that I talk about, you know, like, so I get shadow banned and I get blocked and banned and stuff like that all the time. So, and then people just silence my outreach for them because they get tired of hearing me talk about the shit that I talk about all the time. You know, so like there's spurts where like I'll do really good on social media, and then there's times where like I can post dozens of things a day and I get no traction.
Yeah, no, it's like that for me too sometimes. Or like if I make a post about something and I'm speaking, you know, I'm a very blunt person, so like I'm confident about what I post, but like if I took the time to like type out a fucking novel, you know, people have a problem with what I tend to post, and so it'll slow down my traffic a lot too. So
yeah, but I mean, hell, I mean, that it's just social media is so hard to keep up with. Like,
so can I bring something up that would be controversial, but if you needed to, like,
yeah, go ahead.
So
we have no filter here, so you can bring it up what you want.
So I found this very interesting, right? Like, I've been getting closer to God and like trying to, I don't know, I've just been feeling like that's something I need to do. And I do believe we are living in the end days, like or we're coming up to that point, you know, somewhere. But like I was watching this one channel on YouTube, and the guy, like, he showed the passage and everything. I can't quote the Bible, so don't fucking ask me. But he talked about how God never wanted unity among people, and that, you know, I believe it was at the time of Babel, like when the Tower of Babel got brought down. That was why he confused all the languages. Well, part of the reason why he confused all the languages and everything and made it to where people couldn't understand each other was because it was never meant for all races to like live in one place on the earth or all together. God never meant for that. So like that makes sense, you know, with like the New World Order, the mark of the beast, you know, like everything that we're seeing today. And so it made me like sit and think, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like, does that mean, I'm not saying God is racist, because I don't look at it like that. I looked at it from the standpoint of, okay, if there was never meant to be unity, like, is this the great deception? You know, like that's referred to in the Bible, like, and something that would affect everybody, you know, does racism even exist? Like in the eyes of God, and is that the ultimate like way to deceive people, you know? Because like, you know how like if you meet someone, it's not about the color of their skin. I know about you and I know that about me, but how you just pick up a bad vibe from someone and you're like, I don't fucking like you, you know?
Yeah.
That's us using judgment, right?
Yeah.
But it's good judgment, and I think judgment is good. Like those people that are like, oh, only God can judge me. It's like, get the fuck out of here. That's critical thinking. You're using your best judgment to gauge situation or a person or whatever. And so it made me think like, oh shit, you know, like if we were never meant to like live in harmony like that, then what the fuck is going on? Is racism even real?
I don't think I think it's an impossibility for everybody to live in peace and harmony. It's just not, it's not a thing. Like it's granted, you know, I think you have the Bible, and the Bible speaks of, you know, love thy neighbor, all the stuff that everybody already knows. But like, that's just in my opinion of the Bible, and people might not like this, but it's just it's an idea.
Yeah,
it's a small platform on a way to try to live your life.
Yeah,
but knowing that we're all sinners. Mm-hmm. And essentially we're all inherently bad at some time. Yeah. We're never going to be able to live up to that standard of what was set in the Bible. And that's one of the things that I get. I'm not even super religious, but one thing that I get so irritated when I see is people be like, oh, that's not Christian like. And it's just like, what the fuck you mean? I go, what the fuck do you mean that's not Christian? Like, you know, Christians aren't perfect. They're fucking sinners. Mm-hmm. You're a sinner. I'm a sinner. You know, like
Christians are some of the worst for it. If we're being real here, you know.
But that's one of the things. It's like I see the people that's in protest of people that are Christian and religious and stuff like that. They're like, that's not very religious. Maybe you just need to check your religion or some stupid shit like that. And it's just like, bro, I'm not even religious, and even I know that. You know, we're all assholes. When people, the world would be a lot better if everybody just realized that everybody's asshole.
Yeah,
we're like that Chinese guy that put Donald Trump, don't trust China, China asshole. Yeah, we're all asshole. Everybody, we're all asshole. Everybody sucks. Everybody's a sinner. Everybody's ignorant and mean and rude. That's the inherent nature of human beings. Like, we're assholes. We're essentially like, we're animals. Mm-hmm. And we have that animal nature. I actually talked about this in one of my old podcasts. Well,
yeah, that's kind of getting to with the vibes thing. Like, it's in our DNA. It doesn't have to do with color, in my opinion. It has to, like, what we feel is right or wrong, or like what mood we're in. I mean, some days I'm fucking grouchy and I'll be a bitch and I'll just be on the fucking attack, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I think we all have days like that, like you said, you know.
That's pretty common for women to do, though. But no, like, it's just, it's one of those things that I think people, I would love to live in peace and harmony and everything like that. Yeah, big whoop-de-doo. It would be great to do. But you got to be mentally fucking retarded to think that that's going to ever be a possibility.
Yeah, I agree.
There's
an idea. Yeah.
There's like 300 billion people. Like, there's like billions and billions of people on this planet. Do you think every single one of those people are going to get along with each other?
Well, not only that, the bigger question is, do you think every single one of those people actually want peace? Because, you know, with us being like conspiracy theorists, you know, like,
yeah,
I don't believe in that. Like,
well, I mean, hell, I got people, hell, over the course of this last year, I've been called so many names. You know, I've been called, I literally had people calling me a monster and a murderer because I was talking smack about COVID 1984.
You're not wrong.
And I was talking smack about it, and they're like, you're just a monster and a murderer and you want grandmas to die. And I'm like, man, fuck you. Like, no, I don't. Like, I was like, y'all the crazy people. Y'all in a fucking cult.
Y'all fuckers need Jesus.
Y'all in a fucking cult, man. Like,
that is cult-like behavior, though.
This fucking cult worship of fucking government and society and bowing down and sucking their cocks and stuff like that is just. The last podcast I did with my buddy Travis, we talked about the cult-like mindset of most of society nowadays of like, yes, sir, boss. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, yes, sir. Like, what? Yeah. Like, what? Like, watching people just like bow down and being like, Sure thing, boss. Yes, sir, boss.
Well,
I'm
that's
just like, what?
what Tom McDonald had said, you know, in that fake woke song about how like nowadays, you know, everyone just we're taught to sit down and shut the fuck up, and he's not wrong, you know,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. And they are rewriting history, and it is like 1984. It really fucking is.
Yeah. People
People
the funny thing is, and then people
and
people get on me because over the course of the last year, all the shit that I was calling out is fucking happening now, and I'm just like, look, guys, it happened, and they're like, no, fuck you. Why you always gotta rub it in people's faces? That's unbecoming of you. And I'm just like, nah, fuck you. It makes you look like an asshole. No, I am an asshole, okay, guys? When are you gonna learn this?
yeah, but you're an asshole, who cares, you know? And I think people like us, you know, we are trying to look out for like-minded individuals or people who are willing to think critically and, you know, take the time to do their fucking research. Like, that's important. Like, if you're informed, you got to do some digging.
Yeah. The funny thing is I always do tell people, like, I was like, hey, I could be wrong. I could be wrong about everything.
Jaysin Static's classic line used to be, I may not be right, but I'm never wrong.
Exactly. I may not always be right, but I am never wrong. And the funny thing is I got that from my dad. My dad used to tell me that all the time. So, like, fucking dad. He'd be like, we'd get into arguments or some shit like that about dumb shit.
Oh, I remember your father.
And he'd be like, you know what, Jaysin, I may not always be right, but I'm never fucking wrong. And I'm like, that's so fucking stupid. It makes no fucking sense. And then here I am fucking 15 years later telling everybody. Because then I'm like, you know what? It does kind of make sense. I may not always be right, but I'm never fucking wrong. Think about it, people. Think about it. Open up your fucking minds. But what are some of your goals that you're trying to push for in 2021 and beyond? What are some of the goals that you got?
Well, this year, being on your podcast was one of them. So thank you.
Right.
I would love to branch out in pretty much any and every way possible. You know, like do album covers, or, you know, like we were talking about, be in a music video for someone, you know, support, right. Even if it's not local, like, you know, get the eyes off the mainstream and all the bullshit, you know, support artists like, or that are like, you know, Tom McDonald. I'm not saying him in particular, but,
independent artists, independent people, independent small businesses.
Yeah, and like giving back to that community, but giving back with like art, or, you know, whatever it is that they want. I might pick up new skills, you know, I probably will. I generally do. Like every year I pick up at least one new thing.
Right. What's one new thing that you're going to try to branch out into this year?
Like
art wise?
Probably album covers.
Yeah.
Get my foot in the door there, because I am a big lover of music. You know this, like all kinds of music. I'm not just like stuck in one genre. Like I love all different styles of music, and I feel as I'm getting older, like I'm more open to more styles of music, where 5 years ago I wouldn't have been open to that style of music.
I know somebody like that, Tyler Adams.
So
I only like heavy metal. Fuck rap music. Oh, fuck you, Tyler.
No, I used to be like that though. Like,
yeah, I remember.
Like, aside from like ICP and like Twisted and just Psychopathic Records, you know, I wasn't really.
I remember. I don't want to fucking listen to that shit.
No.
I don't want to listen to fucking Tupac and fucking The Game and all that shit. Fuck this. Put on some fucking ICP. Nah, motherfucker, we're listening to Tupac. Fuck you.
No, I don't mind Tupac. He's not a go-to for me, but I've been really like reggae for a while, since before living in Cali, because a lot of other music that I loved, it had some like trauma bonding ties to it and stuff, and so I branched out into reggae, and I only knew one reggae band, which was the Expendables, and I knew that song Bull too. So like I just started like going in Spotify radio and like listening through, you know, like things that were recommended songs, like under that artist or under that artist radio,
right?
Other artists that I liked, and you know, I'd click on that, and then that would branch me out to more, and I'm finding myself finding more and more like small named but it is so good. Like, it is made with such heart and quality compared to like the shit that's out there today. And I don't know. I love music. It's the one thing in life that's never like turned its back on me or abandoned me or lied to me or anything along those lines. And so like, and I grew up with music, my mom was a musician and everything. So it's ingrained. And so I want to bring that, to the table and, just, to even be asked to represent with your style of work or whatever, to represent essentially with an album cover, like another artist's body of work. Like, that's something I haven't done before. And I think it's totally humbling and just make me think through another person's eyes, and see like what I can make them feel through doing that. So that is a big goal for me this year. And what is to reach out to more people.
You spoke a little bit earlier about some of the addiction aspects that you had. You want to speak on any of that stuff about,
like I was addicted to?
Well, not just that, but like the whole aspect of digging yourself out of it.
Whew, that's a rough side. So,
well, hey, this is what we do here. We get down and we talk about life and we talk about things that try to help people. That's the whole purpose of this podcast, is to open people's minds up about, good. This would be a good buffer between this before you answer this question. I was on Twitter today, even though I'm banned on Twitter for 4 more days. I was scrolling through Twitter and there's this guy named Mike Cernovich. He's a political commentator, but he had this really long thread. I'm not going to read the whole thread, but I will. And I was just like, man, I'm talking to Destiny tonight. I was like, and some of the stuff that we talked about earlier in the week. And I was just like, man, maybe this would be good to try to finagle this in somewhere, because I think it would be good. It'd be a good buffer between a conversation. And essentially he goes, and it's a lot of stuff that I talk about in general, so it just works in. And this was the start of it. He goes, "This world is hard, and at its best, we struggle rather than suffer. All of us carry trauma, usually unprocessed, and these wounds lead us to recreate the trauma in others. There's no need to lie or sensationalize, and doing so shuts down the real discussion all of us need." And then he says, on another part of the thread, he goes, "When you're forced to confront trauma, it's terrifying, as your soul may not be ready for it." Absolutely. This is why people vomit from ayahuasca. He was talking about ayahuasca stuff.
That's so funny, because I've been doing hella research on ayahuasca.
Yeah, and he goes, "It's fighting trauma and your body purges it.
Yeah.
As you let the medicine work, you feel the pain travel through you, you weep, and it's released. Because we are human bodies, we fight against the pain and should. However, we must learn how to release trauma when the environment is safe." And like, it was this big, giant, long, like 16 post thread. So I'm not going to read the whole thing. If you guys want to go find it, it's Mike Cernovich on Twitter, or Cernovich at Cernovich on Twitter. Go check it out. It was a pretty good conversation, but he was talking about processing the damage and traumas that you've had in your life.
That is a really good buffer, man. Fucking
yeah. So, and that's something that, God damn it, no, it's not COVID. People, shut up. I just swallowed wrong. But he was essentially like, he was talking about ayahuasca, but it was it's something to think about, because everybody at least once in their life has had some type of trauma that's made them go wild out at some point in their life, possibly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they haven't wild out, they've held that onto that trauma so much that, they have a multiple of issues, anxiety, depression, and
that's my problem right there.
Stuff like that. So like being able to work out of that and release that, you might still be affected with it, but being able to release that negative energy of trauma and torment or whatever it might be, that's something that's good to try to do, is to try to release that, whether it be through ayahuasca or even painting or sitting down on a podcast talking about random bullshit or going out on a hike or, making fucking cool ass art. But to segue that back to what I asked you about the addiction and stuff like that, I'm not asking you to get into the real bad side of why it was but what was the process of digging yourself out of that?
Honestly,
because I know it was a hard time to get you out of that.
Yeah, it lasted for damn near half my life, really. Mm-hmm. Honestly, so this past time when I lived in Pennsylvania, I lived with someone who I thought was my best friend for like, and it turned out I did not know this person at all. And it's weird how life comes full circle. I keep saying this like lately, especially because I'm still digging myself up out of this hole. Okay. But I only had my first actual breakthrough.
Yeah.
But it was coming face to face with essentially a mirror image of me. Mm-hmm. Like when you were talking earlier about like seeing the potential in someone and wanting to push them to do better and everything, that's what caused me to stop drinking this time. Like I was for like 6 years, every single day I was drinking, like at least some point of the day I was drinking.
Yeah.
And, then, I got all these like diagnoses or whatever. And, I was put on Xanax, and I was super hesitant about even taking Xanax because it was something I had abused in the past, and I wasn't ever addicted to benzos or anything. But, this time I took it like as medically directed. And it was after being faced with my mirror image, that I think it kind of broke my mind in a way. Mm-hmm. And then like, honestly, the last 5 days I've been going through Xanax withdrawal. And so I'm reminded again, life bringing me back to this point, but in a different perspective now, because it's not, oh, I'm addicted to it. The doctor called me and everything. I could have gotten more, but I was like, I don't fucking want more. Like never again. Like this shit was the most brutal thing I have ever come off of. Mm-hmm. But it was when I was coming off of it the first 2 days, I literally I had vision problems and like I was having like hearing problems and just all kinds of issues. And I was just, talking about and like opening up about some of my traumas, like in great detail about what and it was like my brain broke or something. I don't know how to describe
right.
But it was like I was granted like such amazing fucking clarity. And for the first time in my life, it seemed like I was the one holding the torch, rather than someone else holding the torch, lighting the way for me. It was like holding the torch for the first time. And it made me realize that like I can be a toxic fucking person, and to be able to look inside yourself and see like these little blips that have popped up through your life, that have prepared you, which you didn't know, like in the past when this was happening, like even if it's an image or something, a situation, whatever, then it's like you're faced with it again.
Right.
Like, that's why I believe that failures are good things. Like, I mean, don't go fucking killing people or anything, but like, like to a degree, I think that that's our opportunity in life where things come back full circle and they keep going in this fucking, cycle essentially. Until you finally had enough and you're like, all right, why the fuck does this keep happening? It's not just everybody else, it's something in you. And so to be able to take a look at that ugly, that we all harbor inside of ourselves and be able to fucking face it, like you said, to be able to face your own fucking soul. Like, it's truth, man.
It's one, I remember so many times back in the day telling you this exact kind of shit, and like, oh god, I hate to say it like this, but it seems like I used to try to beat it into your head.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things that, but at that same time, like at the same time that I was trying to beat that stuff into your head back in the day, I was also trying to beat it into my head, because I wasn't, the picture perfect person back then either. Like I had my issues and I had my, problems. I had anger problems and stuff like that too. So like, but after essentially we ended up parting ways, like I really did some deep digging into myself, and I realized that, and this is something that we talked about the other day. that I realized that while I had a lot of bad shit happen to me, I kind of created it in a way.
Yeah, when we were talking about how we set up situations and we don't always realize it.
You know, like, granted, some of the bad stuff that happened, it wasn't necessarily me. It wasn't my fault.
No,
but the way that I came off of it and let it control me.
Yeah.
It is it's a funny thing is something that I actually talked about in my hike video that I recorded today, which, hell, you guys are going to already see this. You're already going to see this hike video. And if you're one of Destiny's fans, go back and watch this hike video, because I actually talked about this in that hike video. Being able to, once you find that that deepest, darkest spot of yourself and coming face to face with it, and then realizing that the trauma or the problems or the issues that you've had in your life, no matter what it is, whether it be drug addiction, you know, maybe you were abused as a kid, or maybe, you know, you were physically abused, you know, sexually or something like that as a kid. I know all of that stuff is bad, but the way that you try to carry yourself out of that issue and not let it control you.
That's the hardest part, because you don't even, at least from my standpoint, I didn't realize how much it was controlling me. And even still, you know, tends to control me. I mean, I call you with a lot of my shit, you know, and like ask your advice on it, because like sometimes having that other perspective to bring you back down to earth, like really, you know. Yeah.
But the ultimate bring away from that is, you know, you can ask all the advice that you want, but only you have that power to change that narrative and that story. I actually gave you a good piece of advice the other day of, you are the author of the book of your life, meaning you are the only person that controls that pen in your book of life. Not your friend, not your husband, not your kids, not nobody. Only you have that ability to write that page. So how you come out of your issue or problem or trauma or whatever it is, as long as you know that you have the ability to change that perspective. Yeah, it was a bad time of your life, but the way that you come out of it is going to be the thing that changes your life actually for the better. You might still have that problem and you might still have that trauma from it, but the way that you come out of it is always the better side.
Right.
You know, I know it doesn't work for everybody, and it's easier said than done.
I think you have to hit that wall, you know.
You do.
Because you have to have, like I said, with the person that I lived with up in Pennsylvania, you know, I knew this person for 15 years, and it was like, I didn't know that fucking He was so much like me, but there were some things that were not, you know. But to sit back and essentially watch him, like, killing himself, you know, slowly, like, by being everything, like, it scared the hell out of me, because it was like sitting back watching myself. And like, all the advice through the years, all the rants and raves, you know, through the years, people trying to, like you said, beat it in my head, you know. It was like I had to hit that fucking wall to actually get it and be like, fuck, you know, that's what they're talking about. Like, I'm not going to be like that. Like, I don't want to be like that. Like, that is truly fucking ugly. Like, you know, like ugliness in the soul type shit. And it kind of like shocked me to my core and, you know, brought me back to reality. And then that trauma shit, because it was so similar, it kept bubbling back up, you know, and I'm like, fuck, you know, like, how am I going to do this? And then, I don't know, just everything. I was telling you, it's so weird how so many aspects of my life are coming full circle right now. Like, things are coming back up, but I'm, you know, I'm different than I was, you know, 5-6 years ago when things, you know, I don't think I was open-minded enough to receive the message, if I'm being honest.
Life is a circle.
It is, man.
It's a circle, because you start here, you start at birth, and then occasionally you're just going to circle back to your death. I mean, people talk about wanting equality and everything like this. This is a little news flash for everybody. The only equality that we have in this fucking world is, 1, most people get to live. 2, we all get to die. That's our equality. Everything else, what happens in between, is how you make it.
Yeah.
Some people's going to have a harder time. Some people are going to have an easy time at it. But it's how you live your day-to-day life. Like I said on one of my videos previously, I live my day, I live my life like I'm not going to be there the next day. Because you don't know when you're going to go. I could have this podcast posted next Friday and I could die the next day. I don't know.
Right.
So I want to make sure that no matter what I do in my life, every day that I wake up, I'm just happy that I'm alive that day.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't know if I'm going to get another one. I could walk outside and get hit by a car. I could flip my car over into a ditch. You know, a gang of roving bandits with fucking, you know, Mad Max style fucking makeup on could smash into my house right now and take me out while I'm recording this. I don't know. You know, like shit like that can happen.
Yeah.
Especially.
Impossible.
You know, so like I make sure, and this is one thing that really snapped me out of it and made me change my mindset about everything is it wasn't really like I'd hit that wall myself, and I don't even remember what the wall was, but I just remember at some point in time I was like, shit's got to change. You know, like shit's got to change, you know, like
it's like you have to get fed up with yourself.
Yeah. So like, and in that, I was just like, man, I went on that big journey of trying to find myself and figure out what the fuck was wrong with me. Why am I so angry all the time? Like, why am I just an asshole? Why am I so combative with everybody?
You are combative as shit, but
you know, granted, I'm still combative. I think my combativeness now is a lot different than what it was back in the day. Because back in the day, it was anger combative.
Not always. I mean,
not all the time, but like
you really had to be pushed a lot, you know, and was the type of person back then, especially that pushed a fucking lot, you know.
Yeah, but like even then, like you know, like yeah, it's like you said, you just got to hit that wall, and when you realize that shit's not as bad as what you think it is.
Yeah, but you don't even realize how much control you're giving over to that, you know. Like, really don't.
You're giving that control over to the trauma instead of you taking the control of your life.
Yeah. Well, that and even a lot of the mental shit that stays with you, you know, advice recently was that, you know, you tend to, I think because your brain gets so used to it, you tend to
live in it.
Yeah. And you continue to play the game with yourself. Over and over and over again, you know. So that's why I say, like, I think until you really truly hit that wall, you're not going to have any kind of breakthrough. Like, you have to hit that fucking wall, and you got to be willing to take a look. Like, I mean, in my opinion, it is pretty cut and dry, you know. I mean, at least for me it was, you know. I just had to hit it, and you know, I'm 32 almost now, so
damn, you're old.
Fuck you. But yeah, you know, but what was it? I had posted something on Facebook the other day, and that part of the quote was like something along the lines of, like, you have to take that time for yourself and like selfish, because, you know, the sooner you do that, then the rest of your life, like, you're going to get to live selfless.
Right.
And such wise advice. And it's the real deal, you know, that to be true.
Oh yeah, no doubt. What are some of your favorite bands?
Oh God. Okay, so
just tell the people that
I'm gonna be all over the place, like with genres and stuff. So, like I listen to a lot of the reggae band Revolution, because I like positive, like happy music, you know. But I like angry music too, because it gets me through those periods, you know, where I'm feeling whatever, or it gives me the ability to stop and say, okay, why am I feeling this, you know, and kind of readjust from there. But so Revolution, obviously Five Finger Death Punch. I had been listening to a lot of A Dead Desire. I don't know. I listen to a lot of shit, like a lot. I can't even name all the bands, because a lot of the stuff that I've been listening to is Like I have a song posted on my personal profile called Ophelia, and it's Lumineers, and I've been listening, like I've been digging the shit out of the Lumineers. I don't know really what genre you'd call.
Are you a follower of the Thumbs Down Crew Radio on Spotify?
I am, yes.
Okay. If you motherfuckers listening aren't, maybe you should be. Because there's a shit ton of music on there. There's like 6,000 songs on there by like several, probably like 300 or 400 different bands from genres, from literally every genre from like 1920 up until today. Every genre. There's heavy metal, there's hip hop, there's blues, there's punk music, there's rock music, there's blues. I think I already said blues music. There's musicals on there. You know, fucking Grease. Grease is a fucking great musical.
Okay.
Come on now.
I'll give you Grease. Yeah.
Sweeney Todd.
See, I'm not a fan of that movie or that soundtrack.
It's a good soundtrack though.
Damned is fucking perfect.
Huh?
But I said the Queen of the Damned fucking soundtrack is pure
Great soundtrack.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a musical, so
yeah, but still.
There's some fairly decent musicals out there.
I've been listening to a lot of like Tom McDonald lately. I've been listening to a lot of Mercules and like Mad Child.
I like Mercules and Mad Child.
And what's the other one? They're kind of in that same like musical cluster and stuff. And Nova is really fucking good too. Nova Rockefeller, like I enjoy her shit too.
You listen to some of her older shit, Genghis Khan.
Yeah,
That's a pretty dope song.
She has an album. I'm guessing it's not this newest one, but her last one from like 10 years ago. I went and listened to that like start to finish, and I thought that shit was fucking bomb.
Yeah.
But I've been listening to things that are kind of like how Tom, I find him very inspirational in a lot of ways, for all kinds of reasons that I could probably write a fucking book on. But no, like his shit, like the song Sober, does actually with Nova and Mad Child. Like that shit is so fucking real. Like that's some down to earth for real fucking music, you know, the lyrics and everything in it. Like the lyrics have to be good or I just can't. Like they have to mean something.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know, one of my favorite bands of all time is probably the Presidents of the United States of America. Like I still jam to them all the fucking time.
I seen them in concert.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
It was in when was it? I'm gonna say it was maybe 2010 maybe.
Fuck.
It was at Taste of St. Louis Fair. It's like a food festival up in St. Louis that they have every year. And they have, you know, it's a big food festival that they have downtown, and they have bands and stuff like that play.
That sounds awesome.
And here I am walking through the food festival with a friend, and you know, just munching on food and going to every fucking booth, just grabbing a little bit. And then all of a sudden I hear, "Peaches come from a can. They were put there by a man." I was just like, what? What? And I was like, I've got to go find this.
Yeah.
And then I get up there and I'm just like,
I didn't know they even still like jam.
and I was like, oh. I was like, yeah, one of my all-time favorite bands, and I finally get to see them. Like I had no clue that they were going to be there, so it was just like food, Presidents of the United States of America.
Yeah, you can't.
Fuck yeah, life goal reached.
No, their self-titled album, I jam to that shit all the fucking time. Like even still, and I love Alanis Morissette. I don't give a fuck. Like that's the one.
Isn't it ironic?
Yeah.
that thread that we had
one day.
that thread was fucking popping the other day.
It was. No, but I don't know. I'm much more open-minded musically, you know, nowadays than I was back then and everything. And I don't know. I always am listening to either, you know, a podcast or like music when I'm working, you know.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of Jelly Roll.
Oh, dude, Jelly Roll is so
I love that dude.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
He's the first. Like I made a post a while back. I go, this is the first CD album that I bought in 10 years. And I actually posted, I think I posted it on Instagram. I believe it was.
Was it the newest one?
It was his one that he he put out last year. I think it was last year. What was it?
It wasn't Addiction Kills, was it?
Huh?
Was it Addiction Kills? I don't think that was.
No. Addiction Kills came out in
Aren't him and Lil White brothers?
No, they're friends.
Oh, I thought they were brothers.
No, they're friends. But no, like goddamn, was a Beautiful Disaster.
Okay.
That came out. I think it came out in 2000. Maybe it came out the tail end in 2019, maybe 2020. I don't remember. But I bought the album in 2020. I remember that. And I bought it off Tech Nine's website because Strange Music, because Jelly Roll, he's not signed to Strange Music, but he uses their production company, like like their shipping stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like most of his stuff is at like you can go to strangemusic.com and buy Jelly Roll's merch and albums and stuff like that.
So that's a pretty big fucking compliment all on its own right there.
Yeah, so like it was the first album that I actually bought in over 10 years. So I took a picture of it and I was like, bro, I love this music. I go, I kid you not, this is the first album that I bought like CD wise in 10 years.
Right the fuck
and
off.
the motherfucker liked it. I was just like, yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Going all fangirl and shit.
Yeah. Like I don't really get fangirl too much, like fanboy, fangirl, whatever you want to call it. But like, because I've been in fucking wrestling, I've met all kinds of fucking famous people and shit like that. But it's not even so much fanboy, fangirl or anything like that. It's just like, yeah, like a more respect.
Fair enough. Okay.
Like it's not like I would be like standing there being like, but I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah, like respect, because the acknowledgement of
like I exist right now.
Yeah, like, yo, bro, the dude just showed me some love. Like I showed him love and he showed me love back. Like, dap it up, baby. Yeah, awesome.
No, one of the best experiences of my life actually was the night that I met Edsel from Dope, because I've listened to
I remember that.
Fuck, dude, probably since I was like 16, I've listened to Dope. So almost 16 years.
Motherfucker die. Motherfucker die.
The song I ever heard by them was in I think it's the Fast and the Furious movie, the first one, when they're like the police are kicking in dude's door and the song Debonair begins to play.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first Dope song I ever heard. And I was like hooked from the start, and no one can tell me that fucking Edsel is not fronting fucking New Static X. Like, I don't give a fuck. You go back and you compare Debonair to fucking how Edsel distorts his voice. And I'm telling you, it's a fucking match. I'm telling you.
Wait a minute. Edsel's with Static X?
I think so. Okay, they have like for the frontman, he goes by the name of Zero, and he spells it with an X. But like the way they have him dressed, his neck's covered, he wears a mask. The mask has, I think it's the mask. It might be his actual hair. Is all up. And whenever Static is touring, Dope is always with them. So, and even props to Edsel, for being able to do essentially 2 fucking shows back to back like that. Like, your fucking vocals and like the strength you harbor in your fucking voice box must be like crazy amazing. Mm-hmm. But no, like I was expecting him to be like this all like hardened, like, kind of guy, and he was like more hippie than I am. And he was telling me how like he never even really like had drug problems or anything like that, which is crazy because a lot of their music is about, drugs and shit. And yeah. But he was so fucking cool and he was so nice. I got to like chill back with him in a VIP room, and he had like a listening party for the Blood Money album.
Mm-hmm.
And like I got to go up, I got to, like have a full-blown conversation with him. I actually got to hang out with him for like a few hours, and like I was off like trying not to be like because like whenever it's time to take photos and everything, like he took a picture like on his shit too.
Mm-hmm. And
he was like, you smell good, and I was all like, oh, like Edsel thinks I smell good.
Boing boing boing.
No, but
was it better than meeting what's his name? Oh God, what's the name of that band that you liked? Oh God, I can't think of it. There's another dude that you
Are you talking about Jared from Head PE? Because Jared
Head PE.
Dude, so fucking, I was really disappointed because I've seen Head PE a lot because I would always go to, they were always cheap ass shows, you know, but it was the Head tour when they would be with Mushroom Head. And like Head PE puts on a hell of a show. Like, and in Pennsylvania, they always played more of their metal shit than anything. And just, I don't know, it was just a crazy, like big energy kind of show. And yeah, I got to meet Jared and like take a picture with him and everything. And first off, his bottom teeth were nasty. I mean, like he was all like up in my face about it, but it like, you know how whale teeth look? That's what like the whole bottom row of his teeth reminded me of.
Whale teeth.
But like, no, he was just such a fucking asshole. You know, he had asked me to buy him a shot of Jameson, so I bought him a shot of Jameson, and you know, like
I'd have been like, motherfucker, you're rich. You buy me a shot of Jameson.
Well, like they were getting off the stage, so I ran over to the bar real quick, grabbed him a shot of Jameson, and then I was the first one in line and everything. And like, I don't know, I was younger then too, so like I flashed my boobs like during this picture, and like he just seemed oddly not about it. And my friend that I was with, he was just like, humor her, like just, you know, because I was half fucking wasted too. But you know, I was trying to tell him, like, dude, like, I've been listening to you guys forever. I've seen you, like, a crazy amount of times. You know, it's so good to finally meet you. And he kind of just, like, took the picture and was like, all right. And I was just like, wow, like, fuck you. Like,
motherfucker, I bought you a drink.
No, just his general disregard for his fans, especially during that show, because I wasn't the only one, you know.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know. It's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, you know.
Could have just had a bad day. Who knows?
Yeah, you told me, you were like, well, you can lose respect for the person and not the music, you know? And I'm like, okay, that kind of made me step back and like reevaluate, you know, check myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at first it did, you know, I was like, fuck them. Like, I don't even want to listen to them anymore. Like, he was such an ass. Like, you don't have to like be a fucking angel to me, but like, you know, to just, I don't know. I know he fucking saw me at multiple shows. They're not that big, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just to be like, I don't know, just blown off like that. I felt really disrespected, like on a human being level.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it left a bad taste in my mouth.
I think that's something that like just being in wrestling and stuff like that. And I'm not saying like I had like fucking people like follow me around fucking worshiping me or anything like that.
One bitch, I almost whipped her ass. Whew.
Yeah, that girl's kind of crazy. But you know, like it's just some people being in the wrestling business and then knowing like people that were way popular and stuff like that, and seeing them and then seeing how people reacted to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing just how wrestling fans in general reacted. Like there's almost like a pompousness. Like you have guys that work 256 days a year, you know, on the road, beating their bodies up, whether it's music or, you know, wrestling. And then you have snot-nosed little assholes that meet you at your flight drop-offs, and then they're just shoving shit in your face, and they're like, here, sign this. And you're like, okay, cool. And then they're like, oh, can I get a picture? And you're like, okay, yeah, cool. And then they're like, oh, can you sign this too? And it's just like, most people don't know when to stop with it.
See, I'm more afraid of approaching like famous people like that than anything, because I don't know, I just feel like they're bigger than me, or like maybe I have them up on a pedestal in my head, you know? Mm-hmm. And it makes me like really nervous to the point where it's like I don't want to approach them. And it's not that I don't want to approach them. I really want to approach them. And generally, you know, I get a good response. Like generally they're nice and everything. Yeah. But I don't know, like that fear of rejection from someone, like you said, that you really respect, you know, mm-hmm. or being fearful of being let down, or, you know, because you know how they say like some of your idols are like the biggest assholes you'll ever meet in your life. Mm-hmm. How fans are so let down. Like it is like that. And I don't know, like music makes such a large imprint on my life. It imprints on my art. You know, I can't tell you what I've done that were inspired by Jack Off Jill. You know, hateful fucking angsty girl music, you know, that can help me process my trauma because of maybe a metaphor or something they used in one of their songs.
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'll have that going, and then, you know, it inspires this. And to have that inspiration feeling like it was taken away from you, I don't know. It's like on a personal level to me, you know, where it's like I get scared because I'm like, I don't want to be let down, you know?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I don't even let that affect me anymore. Like when I first started in wrestling and I first started meeting people, and I was just like, okay, this is cool. This is kind of cool. And it was before even before I actually started wrestling, I was friends with this guy named Nick, and he ran a store in St. Louis, and it was at the local mall, and he used to bring in wrestlers and stuff. So I would come down to the store and hang out, you know, make sure people wouldn't steal shit. You know, I was essentially like, you know, a bodyguard or a store guard. It's funny because I'm 5'0" and here I am fucking bodyguarding for guys that are fucking 6'5". Here I am fucking midget man fucking guarding these motherfuckers, make sure people don't steal shit and stuff. You make sure too many fucking people are all like, hey. So like me being able to meet some of these people, I was just like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then the only time that I was ever really nervous about meeting anybody is the first time that I worked for ICP.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even so far. It wasn't even so much a nervous about meeting them. Like I was cool with meeting all of those guys, but there was so many people on that roster at that time that I respected highly. Like Raven was on there, who was like my all-time favorite wrestler. You know, and then you had Sabu, Human Tornado. There was just so many people on that roster at that time that I respected. And then you had ICP, and then ABK was there, and a bunch of other guys were there. So like I respected all of these people.
Right.
And the fact that I was there backstage with all of them all at one time. Like
hella overwhelming. Like
that and it was I was literally like, I was 2 months into my wrestling career.
Damn.
It was literally my third professional wrestling match that I ever had was with ICP's company.
Fuck yeah.
So like, granted, on top of meeting all of those guys, and I had already met a ton of famous superstar wrestlers at that time, you know, Batista and fucking Scott Steiner and all of these people. Like I've met all these legends and stuff like that, but nothing made my anxiety level higher than knowing that I was going to be around all of those guys at one time, and it wasn't my home company, and I was green as grass, which in wrestling terminology means I was new as shit and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So like I was just like, man, I cannot embarrass myself.
Right, yeah.
And that's what I was more worried. I was more worried about embarrassing myself.
Yeah.
And being a laughing stock of the local area. Like I didn't care if they laughed at me. Like they could laugh at me all day because they're probably going to forget me anyways. You know, like my worry was like doing something wrong, and then because there was also other local guys on that show. So, you know, word travels fast and fucking in the business.
Yeah.
So the local guys would fucking tell people, and then next thing it knows, I'm fucking laughed out and I'm not able to wrestle anymore. And I remember the first fucking thing that happened. So I walk in, my buddy at the time, I can't even remember his fucking name now. I'm not friends with him anymore, so it's good enough. But he brought me in because he knew the guy, one of the guys that was booking the show.
Okay.
And he's like, well, you know, I might know a guy if you guys need extra help. And he's like, oh yeah, bring him by. And that's how I got in.
Nice.
So I went in and I met the guy. I met the booker, and he's like, all right, well, you got your gear. I was like, well, I plan to come over for the show and watch it. I didn't plan on wrestling or anything like that, but you know, yeah. He's like, I could probably use you. I was like, yeah, I got my gear. I live right across the river, like 5 minutes away. Like run again. He's like, all right, man, come back and go get your shit and come back. I was like, cool. So I come back. I come through the front stage or the front area of Pops nightclub at that time.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I walk around to the. I find somebody and they're like, yeah, just go into the back. That's where you go. I come through. I had my fucking mohawk up. I was fucking rocking and everything like that. Fucking foot tall fucking mohawk.
That shit was epic.
And I walked as I'm pulling up, open the curtain. I looked back like that because somebody said something, and I kind of just glanced, and then I looked back and I ran right into Sabu. Like me and him, boom, right into each other. And I was just like, in my head, I was like, fuck, you already fucked up, you moron. You hurt one of the motherfucking guys. And then the only thing that I could say, I was just like, hey, I'm Static. And he's like, I'm Sabu. And he goes, I like your hair, kid. And then he walks right past me, and I was just like,
whew, quick.
first one down. And then I walk up and I ended up talking to the booker and everything like that. And the booker is like, okay, well, how long you been wrestling? I was like, well, this is going to be my third match. And he's like, oh. I was like, okay. And in my head, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck, I should have lied. So he's like, nah. He's like, we got something for you. You can wrestle Tracy Smothers. Rest in peace, Tracy Smothers. He just passed away this past year. Good guy, sweetheart of a guy. Tracy Smothers, the fucking legend. Guy's been wrestling like for fucking a decade. Wrestled a fucking bear back in the 80s. And then he's got fucking my midget ass. And I was like, oh God, like I cannot fuck up. I was more stressed as the most high stressed match that I ever had.
Really?
Yeah, like because I was so worried about making a good imprint on him.
Right.
And not fucking his shit up, because granted, I knew that what I was doing hadn't, like I was essentially a job guy. Like, so I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get my ass kicked and not do anything. The match was all about him and making him look good. It was not about making me look good at all. But it was about making him look good. And I was like, oh God, I can't fuck this up. And I went up and I talked to him, and he's like, and I said, I was like, hey Tracy, I'm working you tonight, whenever you're ready, just, let me know, or find somebody and, we can talk. He's like, all right. And so we came and talked. We ended up talking a little bit later, and he's like, all right, well, how long you been wrestling? I was like, this is my third match. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, what do you know how to do? And I was like, well, I can throw some really good kicks. And he's like, all right, cool. This is what you're going to do. Kick my left leg, kick my right leg, go to kick my left leg again. And then I'm going to catch it. And then I'm just going to kick the shit out of you. And I was just like, fucking right. I can do that. And then I was good. Then I was good.
Dude,
but
we're fighting. You remember when you took that kick, it was an unexpected kick or something, or maybe he connected or got pissed off or whatever. But you had that crazy fucking bruise that lasted for like ever.
Oh, that was me and Max Archer.
Was it?
Yeah, Max Archer.
It was Ace for some reason.
No, it was me and Max Archer. We were over. We were out at that.
Wasn't it in Only?
No. That was. I don't remember the name of the town. It was in Illinois. It was one of our big shows that SICW used to do. They still do it, but it's where the venue and the lights are all down low and the spotlight on the stage.
That where LMC fucking he like jumped too high off the top rope, remember? And he like busted the fucking light because he hit his head on it.
I don't remember if that was the one or not, but no, like that was an accident.
Yeah, you guys did some crazy fucking shows. That was such a
the bicep bruise. That was an accident. I went to go throw a punch, and then he threw a punch at the same time.
I thought it was his foot that hit you.
It was his elbow. The point of his elbow smacked me right here.
That's the worst bruise I have ever
Yeah, and that was pretty gnarly.
I remember being afraid that you had like internal or whatever it is bleeding like under your skin area because it was so bad.
Deep tissue bruise. Yeah, but me and LMC, we're not friends anymore.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, he don't like me anymore. That's a funny story.
I can't say I'm surprised with the state of the world and everything today. That's not shocking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people from those days. A lot of the crew that I rolled with at that time aren't friends with me anymore. There's two of them, Ace and Big Dave.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I still talk to Dave too. Yeah,
those are the only two that I actually rode with, like, traveled with a lot, that actually talk to me still. And that Ace is just recently, like over the course of the last year, we started talking again.
Right on. Is he still wrestling?
No, I don't think he is. I'm not sure. I don't follow independent, like local independent wrestling that much anymore. Okay. Every once in a while, I'll, if I see somebody that's on my Facebook feed that's from the local scene, and I'll talk to them and whatnot, but I don't really follow it as much as I used to. Hell, I don't even follow wrestling. I follow it, but I don't follow it. Like, I watch a lot of it on YouTube. But
that you could watch it on YouTube, because I was gonna say, like, me and you were into that shit hard. Like, I was about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I don't have a TV anymore, so I don't have a way to watch. I don't have a way to watch the actual shows.
I don't see the point in cable anymore with all these streaming services, and I've got just about fucking everything. So.
Yeah, like I got WWE Network, so if I want to watch wrestling, I'll just throw that on if I get time. And most of the time, if I'm even watching anything, it's not like I'm actually watching it. I usually just put it on in the background when I'm listening, while I'm working and selling random shit on the internet and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't really have time for TV. Most of the time, if I'm listening to something, I'm either listening to Thumbs Down Crew Radio, another plug. Go follow my podcast also on, well, fuck, you retards are going to be listening to this.
Yeah.
So, fuck, on Spotify, motherfuckers. But either that or I'm listening to, like, other people's podcasts or listening to audiobooks and stuff like that. So you're my grandpa. My grandpa used to listen to audiobooks all the time, sit out in the...
No, I totally listen to audiobooks. Actually, when I read 1984, I don't know why I got confused.
Listen to 1984?
Yeah, I listened to that as an audiobook, yeah.
Yeah. I'm weird because, like, I'm listening to this audiobook right now called the politically incorrect version of American history.
Nice.
And I'm listening to it on audiobook. I get free audiobooks on Audible, not plugged, I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, but I get free credits because I got the premium thing. So I pay like $14 a month on Audible to listen to books, and then I get a free book every month.
Oh, that's badass.
So I just build up a bunch of credits, and then whenever I get a credit, I just use that free credit to get another book.
Right.
So I've got, like, on my Audible, I've listened to like 8 or 9 different books so far, but then I have like 13 that I've bought over the course of the last year.
Isn't it funny how much we become like our parents and our group?
But then at that same time, not only do I get the audiobook, I actually buy the cover, the hard copy of it too.
Right on.
So because
I saw you had posted something about, like, thinking about doing something with books.
Doing a book chain, like a library book chain.
Yeah, that would be something I would be very much interested in.
Like back in the old days, they used to have pamphleteers. Back in the old, 1700s, to get shit around, news and information around, they had pamphleteers.
Right.
So essentially the pamphleteers would be like people that would be like, I guess you could consider them like writers or journalists of those days. And it's essentially like a bunch of shit talkers. I guess you could say that, because Thomas Paine was a pamphleteer, and there's a bunch of different. There's this dude named Milton. I forget what his first name is, but his last name was Milton. He was a pamphleteer, and it's just people that talk shit, essentially. Like, I don't like this, so I'm gonna write a fucking pamphlet about it. I actually got. Let me see. Where's this at? Oh yeah, right here. This is essentially a pamphlet right here.
Nice.
So, and this is actually a book called Nazis, Commies, and Terrorists: how Western society has become what it fought and how to fix this problem. And it was written by Styx Hexenhammer, who's a YouTuber that I like. And he does all kinds of like little books like this, and he re-edits like occult books and stuff like that. So essentially what the book chain is going to be like, I'm essentially going to run my own library service, but everything is going to be historical books, I'm going to try to find old articles or essays that people in politics or political commentators wrote, because that's a lot of stuff that people don't know about, like like essays that stuff like people who like Milton Friedman or Walter E. Williams or something like that. Just all these people that's talked on economics and politics and stuff like that over the last 100+ years, and they write essays and articles and stuff like that. Sometimes if they're big enough, they get they compile it into a book or something like that. But for the most part, most of that stuff doesn't come about. So if I can find them and actually print out a copy of it, staple it all together, and just send it out to people so people can read these things, it's essentially I'm trying to start a new pamphleteer type thing where I realize in society, if you want anything in society to change, you've got to change it from the cultural standpoint. Politics is downstream from culture.
Right.
So if you want shit to change, you've got to change the culture. Our culture nowadays, not enough people understand actually what the fuck's going on.
Nah, man. Everyone's so distracted. It's like
everybody's so distracted. So like that's why I come up with, because I started reading a lot and fucking listening to audiobooks and stuff like that. So I decided, I was like, fuck, man, why don't I start a fucking book chain? Because the reason that the thing that gave me this idea is the book that I'm listening to, the politically incorrect version of the American history, while the person's reading the book and while the guy wrote the book, at that same time, he's also putting he's dropping other book names in there.
Nice.
So he's like, he might be, I don't remember at one point, like say he's talking about say he was talking about like Abraham Lincoln at one point. And then he's like, books that you're not supposed to read. And then he would kind of like, he would stop talking about what he's talking about and being like, books you're not supposed to read, but it would all tie into exactly
right
what he was talking about. And he's dropped like 7 or 8 books in the course of this book. And I'm just like, man. So I'm sitting there thinking that, like, I was listening to it the other day at work, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to fucking do that. So I was like, I'm going to start a fucking book chain and do it through email. I got an encrypted fucking email. So I give people like, hey, send me your email or send me your address through this encrypted fucking email.
Yeah.
And whenever I get the list put together, I'll fucking mail you the list, and you can tell me what you want to fucking check out, and then I'll fucking send it to you. And then hell, if you want to send it to somebody else, send it to somebody else. If you want to send it back to me, just send it back to me when you're done. So essentially I'm buying books for everybody.
And you're playing librarian, and we got to return the shit, or like you said, pass it on to somebody else. Yeah.
And none of it. I was actually talking to a buddy of mine the other night, and he's like, well, you're going to charge anything? I was like, no, not really. I mean, not really. I was like, if it gets to the point of where there's like 100 people in the fucking chain, and I'm trying to send out 100 fucking books a week to people, like, yeah, I might ask people, like, hey, help me out here, maybe like fucking $2 a month or some shit like that. Help me out with fucking fees, because shipping books across the fucking country and world is not cheap.
Yeah.
So like, but yeah, that's kind of the idea and the concept of all the books are going to be like I said, they're all going to be political in nature, history books, literally books from all sides of the spectrum. So I'm not a fan of communism. Everybody knows this by now. I'm not a fan of communism or socialism. But guess what? I'm gonna buy books on communism written by communists communist.
Well, in my opinion,
and stuff like that too. So
especially things that challenge your view or that you don't agree with, I think it's really important
Yeah.
to look at things or learn about those things, because then you're more aware when that shit is going on,
Yeah.
And then conversations like these, you can participate in and sound like a fucking.
I actually got I got to send out. I might send them out tomorrow. I got that book that I just mentioned, and then I got another one downstairs called 33 questions you're not supposed to. 33 questions you're not supposed to ask about politics.
Why is it 33?
I don't know. It's just the name of the book. Like, it's just 33 questions that you're not supposed to ask about politics.
Okay.
But it's a funny book. But like, I hit up my buddy the other night. And I was like, hey man, I was like, do you like reading books? Because we're always talking about, like, me and him. We're always talking about like comic books and shit like that. So like, I know that he likes to read comic books, but I didn't know if he liked to read actual books. Right. But I've seen over the course of the last several months, like he'll occasionally start talking about politics on his Facebook page. So that's what got me into and then seeing him post about it, seeing him not ever post anything about politics. And then him over the course of the last couple of months, like last 4 or 5 months, seeing him start posting about politics. I'm just like, you know what? Like, I was like, we talk a lot about comic books and comics and nerd stuff and stuff like that. I was like, I wonder if he'll be interested in some political books, because that's kind of the thing that I want to do, is I want to get people interested in it because it's fucking important.
Yeah, it is. Definitely.
Granted, voting and shit like that, you're never going to change any of that shit because, like I said, you got to change the culture before you change the fucking politics. But so I hit him up and I was like, hey dude, do you like reading books? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I was like, cool. He's like, why? And I was like, well, I had this idea of a book chain type thing, like the old school email chains, the fucking that you always fucking hated. You get like 100 fucking messages from people that you don't even know. So like, and he's like, oh, he's like, that's cool. And he's like, that sounds cool. I was like, well, I was like, the thing is like all the books are going to be political in nature, religious in nature. There's going to be like occult books and stuff like that, all kind of shit.
Flat Earth books in there.
Huh?
So there better be Flat Earth books in there.
Oh God. But we'll get to that later. But just all kinds of books from all types. And he's like, cool. He's like, I've actually been wanting to learn more about politics. So I was like, fucking right. Gotcha. I was like, bro, I got 2 books I'm going to send you. He's like, cool. I was like, send me your address through this encrypted email. He's like, God damn. But yeah, fucking book chain, man. I ain't got it figured all out yet. I actually just bought a shit ton of books the other day. I bought like fucking 27, 4, 3. Yeah, like fucking 35, 37 books the other day. So yeah, fucking getting on it. The new studio, if and when I get a new place, the new studio is going to be literally like a fucking old school fucking rich dude, like fucking, sitting in a fucking book room, library, study type place.
Yeah, because you had sent me like inspo pics or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that, like cigar lounge, kind of like
whiskey lounge, bar, cigar room type thing.
Yeah,
that's kind of hopefully I get a decent sized room. I could do something like that.
Yeah.
And I'll just be like, I just pick it off the shelf. Oh yeah, this is the book that I got to send today. Type stuff. But hey, we've been running for 2 hours and 22 minutes.
We have
and I think we've had a good conversation here. Anything else that you would like to share with the podcast?
Oh yeah.
Anything that you want to promote?
Well, not that I want to promote. So y'all motherfuckers don't think he was clickbait or whatever. I am not wearing my dreads today because my dreads are actually fake. I braid them in my hair and my neck is very short. And so, this is actually a wig. So
damn.
You can go ahead and
fake ass bitch.
I know, right? Super fake.
You don't want to promote anything that you got going on, your Facebook, your Snapchat, or anything like that?
Sorry.
I mean, hell, we're here for your fucking art shit. You act like you ain't never done this shit before.
So, You can check out my art page. It's Dead Z's Deviations, and that's spelled with Z's.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have him link my shit. But I'm Dead Like a Hole on Snapchat, and I am Dead Z Death Punch on Instagram. But could like follow me or, you know, whatever on there. And I always want feedback. Like, even if it's like, I can take constructive criticism as long as you're not a fucking, you know, trying to beat me down kind of dick about it. But feedback helps with growth, in my opinion. And, you know, tell me what you like about it. Tell me what you don't like about it. You know, what would you like to see more in it or less of, or, you know, whatever. Like, because I mean, I'm not making it for you. I mean, unless like you commission me for that. But, you know, I don't know, to get a better feel of like where the realm is with like my audience, with your audience, whatever, you know, I think that's helpful. And I think that's something that we need as artists. So,
so this is something that I do with everybody, and you should know this by now because you've listened to a lot of my podcast. I like to leave my podcast with a little bit of inspiration for people to get up off their ass and fucking do something. What is a little bit of information or inspiration, motivation, whatever the hell you want to call it, that you can leave your people, your fan base, and my fan base? What's some Dead Sea, Destiny, Dead Sea deviation, inspiration, motivation? Drop some bombs on us.
That's a hard one.
Be groovy, man. Peace and flowers.
Yeah, peace and flowers. That's what I was thinking about. I don't know. Like, I guess I would say to spend more time outside, definitely, because I think vitamin D from the sun and then just being around nature, it makes you, for me anyway, it makes me feel smaller than my problems, and that always is fucking helpful. And like pursuing something, like you're feeling like you're failing, like don't give up. You know,
keep at it, motherfuckers.
Like, yeah, just keep at it, you know, because like I said, I've been an artist for 12 years now, you know, but I've only really started like seriously pushing, you know, because I realize it's something I'm going to do regardless. You know, I'm going to create because that's what I was made to do. So like, if you're feeling like down or, you know, whatever, just give it another go and see what the fuck happens. Cause I mean, that could be your shot. That could be your chance. Like, that's what keeps me going. You know, I mean, fuck, I wouldn't be sitting right here, you know, where I am. Like
Eminem said, you've only got one shot.
Oh my God.
You've only got one shot, everybody. You never know when you're going to go.
Yeah. But, and you know, go hug a hippie. They'll help you feel better.
Make sure they don't smell first.
Hey, even smelly hippies have love to give, man.
All right, everybody. And
that's clear.
I'm going to leave you with this. And it's something that I said earlier from Cernovich. I actually pulled up another one. And this one is actually good for what she said. The fear of losing is why most never start. You can always rationalize what you could have done if you really wanted to. It's how we protect ourselves. We hide from our dreams and hide from love because we're afraid to risk our hearts. Without risk, we become hollow. Take a second to think about that, y'all. And while you're thinking about that, be sure to go check out www.jaysonstatic.com for all the cool antiques and collectibles and merch and shit that I got on there. And be sure to go check out Destiny on all of her shit. All the links are going to be in the descriptions below. So see you later, assholes.
Bye. Peace and flowers, motherfuckers.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm out of here. Fuck this.